All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Mo Mindful Show. My name is Dr. Mo. I'm your host tonight, and it is an honor and a pleasure to bring to you all, to introduce to some, to present to others, Miss Teresa A. Smith. So, Swift, my guest is a six-time published author with four children, two grandchildren, and of course, a loving husband. She's written two novels, and she has four children's books to her credit. She's a mother, a grandmother, and a humanitarian. And I like to think that she's a matriarchal figure around the world. So I have the pleasure of being introduced to her and her husband not that long ago, and I'm truly a better person as a result, because that's just the type of people that they are. So without any further ado, I want to introduce to you all Ms. Teresa A. Swift. Teresa.
Hello, Dr. Mo. Thank you for inviting me to the Mo Mindful Show. Let's get this show on the go. You know, I've been waiting to say that.
All right, all right, all right. I love you. I love your energy. I've always loved this since we met, and so I'm so excited about this. I hope we have a bunch of guests on here tonight, and so having recently celebrated a very important birthday,
Yes.
this virtuous woman is ever saluting life, and she's imparting upon others that high standard in which has shaped her life. She's a phenomenal lady, and the Bible calls wisdom a woman. It calls it a she. And now I really understand why the Bible calls wisdom a she, because of women like Teresa A. Swift. So you have written this magnificent book, and I mean, I loved it. And first, let me say this. So I'm an avid reader.
Mm-hmm.
I love books. However, 97% of my books are self-help books. Constantly trying to improve myself, working on myself. I'm a lifelong learner. I consider myself a lifelong learner. And it's very rare that I come across a fictional book that will hold my attention and make me read the whole thing. And I let me emphasize make, because I couldn't put down your book. It was such a magnificent book. I read it twice, actually, and I mean all the way through. And the second time around, I was like, "Wow, I don't remember this part." Or this is, this is another revelation. It's almost like reading the Bible. They say the word is inexhaustible, and all the different things that your characters talked about in the book were just like, like wow, wow, wow. And so I really loved the book, and I wanted to say that first. Tell me, what prompted you to write the book?
When I woke up one morning, let me say this, because I want to say thank you for allowing me to be on your show.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing that these doors are opening for me. And I feel your passion with Mint, and I'm glad you love her just as much as I do, because I'm a reader myself. So, but what made me write Mint? I wanted to write a book that was never told before. There's a lot of stories about slavery, but I wanted a different narrative. I wanted a story about a woman who was born through slavery. She went through civil rights. She went through Reconstruction, Jim Crow, Great Depression, but she still came out a successful woman. Mm-hmm. So that's what made me want to write this story, because it's a story that's never been told. Plus, I wanted to give it a little bit of twist. I didn't want, because it's like you, I don't like boring books.
Right.
I like a book that I could continue to turn the page. So once I started working on this story, I said, wow, I can really turn this into something really, really marvelous. Mm-hmm. So the more I worked on it and the more stories that she told, the better the book became. Because a lot of times a book would start off really great, and then when you get to the end, you'd be like, oh, you'd be disappointed. But with Mint, I had people come to me, Dr. Mo, and say, when she was shut down, when she got tired of telling a story, they would get upset and say, "Why did you shut her down? I want her."
Right, right.
And I'm like, "Well, the woman is 110 years old. She's she's tired, so I had to
Right.
shut her down so I can, get her prepared to tell the next story." But just like you and so many of my readers, it's a story, like you said, never been told. And she really revolved through all of this history. And she's seen a lot of things. And she says a lot of things in this book. So the book is very deep. And I just wanted to tell a different slave narrative. That's why I wrote this book.
Okay. And so, all right, when I think about this book, my first thing that I thought was that someone actually, like you were talking to someone, like this is actually your grandmother or somebody who actually lived during that time, and you actually listened to them, and this was a narrative of what they went through. Because you're right, this is a story that's never been told, because most slave stories are just one period. It's during slavery only, and it can get kind of tired. Even though we definitely need to know that history, but your story, it started in slavery, but then went well beyond that, and then all the intricacies of the information that meant your main character experienced, and was able to share those different things. And then her way of storytelling, which is, your way of storytelling, was just remarkable. So tell me this: was there a real man? Was there a real person that you got this, or how'd you get this information? Some of this information, because it's so real, and you were so detailed.
Okay, let me say this. Your audience didn't see this before you started the show, but you said a prayer. Okay, I said a prayer. I wanted a book because I've already had several books. I wanted a book that was going to really set my name apart and was going to put my name out there with, New York Times bestsellers. Because to me, it's just about telling a good story. No matter how you write it, at the end of the day, was it a good story?
Right.
But to answer your question, everything that I wrote was contrived in my brain. I didn't have the privilege of sitting down talking with a young lady that was that went through the things that she went through. But I think what's throwing people off, Dr. Mo, because I put historical history in the book, and a lot of people think the book is real. That I honestly sat down with Sarah Mae Robinson and had this conversation. But I didn't. But let me tell you how I got her name. Okay. Sarah, because of the Bible, Abraham's wife. May, that's my favorite month of the year. Robertson.
Mine too. That's my birthday month.
Okay. Robertson, my husband's name is Robert. And I just put son on the end.
Wow.
So I came up with her name.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But people have to understand when they sit and talk to me, I share little secrets. But no, I didn't have the opportunity to sit down with this woman. And but it feels like I did. It truly feels like I was sitting with her taking notes. But no, it was all contrived in my head. And let me tell you what Mallory said to me, the young lady who edited the book, the first editor. When she finished reading the book, she said to me, Teresa, she said, to write a book like this, you got to be brilliant and insane. And I said, well, Mallory, I guess I'm a little bit of both. Because she said, because she's a writer and a reader. And she said, how did you pull this story? Because the people that read the book, they got to get to the ending. Because how I bring everything together.
Right.
So, no, I made it all up out of my brain. She was contrived out of my brain.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Now, and speaking of interesting creations, I know about the book cover. Tell us a little bit about the book cover. Who's this precious young lady on the front of your book?
Well, let me tell you this before we talk about this cover. I had another cover for the book.
Okay.
Okay. I had, but it wasn't, it was a little mint standing in front of a shack holding a sunflower. And we all know what the sunflower represents, you know, people
Right.
that read the book.
Mm-hmm.
So when my publicist saw the cover, he came to me, he said, Teresa, because what I did, I had my granddaughter, they took a picture of my granddaughter, they part her hair down the middle, just like the book, and they took a picture of her up against the wall.
Okay.
So when my publicist saw the original cover, he said, wait a minute, we need to think about redoing this cover. So I said, okay. I said, but I still wanted a picture of my granddaughter on the cover. So that's my granddaughter when she was 5 years old. She'd be 7 July 24th.
Okay.
So they just took her picture and aged her. And
Wow.
when they presented the book to me, the cover to me, like there was no butterflies. So I told them, please go back and put an orange butterfly on this book because we all, you know, the people that read the book. And I hope there's a lot of people that have not gotten this book so they can run and go get a copy of this book so they'll understand what we're saying. Because we have to kind of like tiptoe around things because we
Right.
don't want to be a spoiler alert. We don't want to give anything away. But yes, that is one of my granddaughters. I have two beautiful granddaughters,
Mm-hmm.
and that is my oldest granddaughter.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, let me take a look at the chat real quick. So we have right now we have about 26 people that are watching. So I want everybody right now to just stop for a second, hit the share button, send it to one of your friends, text them, email them, send up a smoke screen, whatever you got to do. Get some more people on here because they're going to miss a very good conversation, a great conversation. Uh, I want to thank Arvin for coming on. For well, Forrcalcj. I don't know who that is. Sherry Ricks, Anita Evans, Shakina Alford, Pastor Calvert Edison, Vicki Graham, Janice Woolfolk, Trina Fitzgerald, Corliss Bernard, Alexis Richardson, and Janice Woolfolk. Those are the people who said hello or sent a message already. And so again, everybody just go ahead and hit share. And then also, we want you to subscribe. Right on the bottom here, you have a subscribe button. So go ahead and subscribe and continue to follow the Mo Mindful Show so you can see other fantastic authors and artists and kings and queens like you're seeing this evening. So, Teresa, before we really get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into writing books? What was maybe your favorite book or your favorite story? What got this creativity flowing in you? And how early was that? Because we know you've already written several books. This is your sixth. So when was that first book? And so just kind of give us a little brief history of who Teresa A. Swift is.
Well, before I started writing, I was a mortgage banker. I was a mortgage banker for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I, we used to own our own mortgage company called Swift Mortgage. And what happened was when the housing crash, market crashed in 2006, 2007,
Mm-hmm.
I had to reinvent myself. So what I did, because people always told me I had to tell stories, because I've always been a storyteller all my life. I was always a jokester. I was the one that could remember jokes and tell the jokes. So I told my husband, I said, you know what? I said, let me start writing. So what I did, I wrote my first children's book, The Ladybug and the Bird.
Okay.
And then we started, because people don't understand, it's so hard getting a publisher, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you are unknown. So, I mean, I got a lot of denial letters, you pitch them and thanks, but no thanks. So I told my husband, I said, let's start our own publishing company. So we did, we started Fun Text Publishing. And under that publishing companies, I published five books. But as far as my gift, I would say my fourth grade teacher is the one who really saw my gift in me, because we had to do a book report. And I made up this story about this flying beetle car that would go around, had wings and would go around and rescue children.
Okay.
And I was so proud of this book report. And my mother, she bought me this blue binder to put in the book report. And
Mm-hmm.
when the teacher was passing out the graded report, she stopped at my desk and she laid my binder down and she said, Teresa, you should really consider being a writer because you have such a great imagination.
Okay.
And when I flipped open my binder, she had written excellent A plus on the report.
Wow.
So she saw a gift in me at the, you know, um, in fourth grade. And her name is Cecily. Um, but I've always been a storyteller. I mean, even as a young girl, I would go to the library and just get armfuls of books and just.
Mm-hmm.
So to say I have a favorite, I can't say I have a favorite. If I had to say I had a favorite book, it would be Mint,
All right.
my favorite book.
Hey, it's beginning to be one of my favorites as well. Absolutely. All right. I want to quickly just say the Armor of God Fellowship Church in Columbia, South Carolina, Pastor Clarence Black just jumped on the line also. Christy Ellerby. So thank you all for coming on. I see Warnell Simon there. Awesome, awesome. Keep them coming, you guys. Keep inviting people. So Teresa, we're going to do this quick thing called the Mo Mindful Madness. All right.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back into the interview. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'll say a word or a phrase, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind, and or if it's two phrases that I give you, select one of them.
Mhm.
Okay. So your mood today.
Oh, overjoyed.
Okay. Family vacation.
You said family vacation?
Well, family vacation versus couples retreat.
Right now, it's going to be couple retreat because between my husband and these taxes and me and this book, we need some time alone. So right now, we have to get the family later on throughout the year, but it will definitely be a couples retreat right now.
I know that's right. All right. Jazz, classical, blues, or hip hop.
Jazz.
Awesome. Home cooked or eating out.
I'm a cook.
Planes, trains, automobiles, or ships.
Right now, I'm in the car.
Okay. Dog, cat, eagle, or elephant.
Eagle. I fly alone.
Typewriter, computer, word processor, or transcription.
Computer.
All right. Shooting, skiing, sunbathing, skydiving, or snorkeling.
Skiing. Because I used to
Oh,
ski. I used to ski, so skiing.
awesome. I used to be a ski coach.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
Wow. Awesome.
So,
It's not all of us that's out there, that's
right.
so yeah.
And I listed all those things. They were all S words, but all of those different things I've done before.
Hmm.
And so I'm an adventure seeker.
Oh
So,
wow, wonderful.
your favorite artist?
Prince.
All
Everybody
right.
that knows me know Prince is my guy.
All
It's
right. You see both of our names is highlighted in purple there. Your
yeah.
favorite film, song, or book? Well, you already said book. So favorite film or song?
I have several films, but one of my favorites is Fried Green Tomatoes. That's one of my
Okay.
favorites. Yeah, and The Joy Luck Club. I don't think
Okay.
a lot of people know about that, but and both of them are based off books.
I remember that. I remember both of those. Yep.
Hmm.
So you have a brilliant mind, Teresa. Until you are actually unless you're actually meant in disguise, it's evident that you had to do a lot of research. So what did you have to do to find out all these historical facts? Now, some of them, of course, we've been taught in history school. I mean, in history class, but a lot of things, especially when you dig deep into the ongoings of daily life in slavery, how did you come up with that information?
You're right. I did do a lot of research. First, I had to research type of food that they ate. So I did that. I
Okay.
researched because in the book I talk about this slave who was an excellent cook. So I researched the type of foods. I researched how they collected trash. I researched um, the Civil War. I went back researched the story about Emmett Till. So there's a lot of research that went into the book because, how to make sure, I didn't bring electricity in when it wasn't supposed to be in, when I'm going back in the 1800s, so
Right.
I had to make sure that was correct. So it took a lot. People don't understand. I even researched the color orange. People don't understand colors have a meaning. Orange is the color of God. It means
Okay.
color of God and protection. So that's why that orange butterfly plays a major role in this book. I could have named it, gave it another color, but
Mhm.
because of the protection of God, I wanted that. I researched her name, her birth name, not her slave name. If people didn't know, her name is and I think I can tell people her mother named her Adira,
Mhm.
and I researched her name, which means strong in Hebrew. So
Mhm.
I did a lot of even butterflies, the significance of butterflies, because in
Right.
certain customs, they believe butterflies is your spirit. So even butterflies, um, plantations, what did they look like back then? You know, and so I
Mhm.
I, I researched how plantations were laid out, how the main house was laid out. They
Right.
had a parlor, they had a kitchen. How did they cook? I did all of that research because
Mhm.
I wanted the book to be as accurate as possible.
Right.
And and I'm glad you brought it out because as a reader, you knew I had to do research to write this book.
Yeah, I learned so much. I'm a educator of 20 years. I've taught everything from second grade to college, and a lot of the things that you shared in the book were revelations to me. I never knew about it, especially regarding the particular sandwich. If you want to mention it, you can, but I'll just talk about the sandwich that you talked about.
Mhm.
I had no idea what that was.
Really? You never
And
heard of a hog head cheese sandwich?
no,
And
I've heard of hoghead cheese, but I've never eaten it. First of all,
Mhm,
I've seen hoghead restaurants and stuff,
mhm.
but no, I never knew what it was really made
Yeah.
of.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to, research because, growing up in the South, I used to watch my grandparents make it, but I had to
Mhm.
go back and make sure I was accurate. Also, people told me about when about alcohol, when she was talking about the difference between liquor and
Liquor and
whiskey.
mhm.
You know, I
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
researched
went
it.
deep. You
Yeah.
went deep.
Mhm. I did. It took me about 3 months. I did 3 months of research. And then
Okay.
after 3 months, that's when I felt comfortable enough to go back and, and start really putting my words on paper.
All right. Now you mentioned earlier on that your friend said you had to be brilliant and insane. Was that the other word?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I read this book, um, there's some very dark imagery
Hmm.
throughout the book,
Hmm.
in the stories that Mint is telling. And um, my thought was like, wow, how did you like? I don't even know how to ask the question. Just you aside from the research,
Hmm.
it really seemed like you were there, and it felt like that I was there because you were very descriptive.
Hmm.
Um, it was almost like I was sitting in the chair in every scene that was going on because you know, I can see the plantation, I can see the butterflies, I can see the grass patch, I can see, the the house. We'll just call it the house where all the trouble was going on, and I can see all those different things. I can hear the screams and screeches, and how was it that you, first of all, that you were able to pull yourself into um, being able to describe all of that, and then did it emotionally affect you either during the research or as you wrote some of this stuff? How did you feel?
Okay. Dr. Mo, I have to share this. When I write, I empty myself. I pray and I empty myself. And I ask, and I gave him the name the Big G in the book. So I'm going to call him the Big G on your show.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I always ask the Big G to allow the story to come through me, through my heart. And so I will pray. And then what I would do, I would empty out Teresa. I take all my emotions away because I wear two hats. I wear a hat as a writer, and then I have to wear a hat as a reader.
Mm-hmm.
So when I sit down to write, and I've already did my prayer, and I anointed myself, and I would sit there and I would just type, and it's like I allow the spirit to flow through me for the story to be told through me. I don't interfere in the story. And I would sit there and I would just write and I would type and tell the story. Now, once I do that and I take a break, then I said, okay, let me go back and read it as a reader.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I go back to read it as a reader, I'm messed up. Because I'm looking at myself and saying, wow, how did you write that? Because I'm crying. I'm sitting there, I'm crying. And then sometimes I'm laughing. You know, and one time I was laughing so hard because there's a part in the book, you know, when you mentioned the hog head, when she was having a conversation and, you know, when they was, you know, having a conversation about the hog head cheese. I was laughing so hard. My husband came downstairs. He said, are you okay? And I said, no, I'm just laughing at the book. Because one thing about a good story, if it's a good story, you're going to talk while it's on. Have you ever been to the movie theater and it's a good story and you got people talking? You was like, you be like, could you please shut up so I could? And that's what Mint does. Mint makes you talk to this book. You really talk to this book. So when I put my head on as a reader, my emotions are all over the place.
Right.
But let me share this, because I can go there on your show. In 2003, the church that my husband and I were going to at the time, they had a visitor, a man from North Carolina. And after church, he came up to me. And this is what he said, Dr. Bo. He said, you are going to be a writer for God. And some of the things you're going to write, it's not going to look like his hand is upon you, but it is. And the man scared me to death. I'm going to be honest with you. Because I've never met the man before. Okay. And on our way home, I told my husband, I said, that man came up there and told me I was going to be a writer. But I have already started writing. You know what I said? I've been a writer all my life. So he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. So I pray first. Empty out Teresa to write so I can get the job done. And then I go back in and read it as a reader.
Okay. Well, we are talking to Teresa A. Swift, the author of Mint. I'm going to show you the cover. Some people on the chat was saying, what's the name of the book? Actually, let's do this. Let's show them a cover right here. So this is the cover. This is her beautiful granddaughter, or one of her beautiful granddaughters. And again, the name of the book is Mint by Teresa A. Swift. You can find it on Amazon, BarnesandNobles.com, Goodreads, and Booktopia, as well as you can go directly to Teresa's website, Mint by Teresa A. Swift. So let's return to the interview. So I think it was a philosopher. His name was George Santayana. And he's credited with the adage, some people say that somebody else said this, but those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Right.
One, what do you say about that? Two, did you have this concept in mind when you were writing this book? Did you want to educate people or just entertain?
I wanted to enlighten. I wanted to entertain. Because like I said, who wants to read a boring book?
Right.
I wanted to motivate people because, like you said, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Right.
And so here's this woman in 1966 talking about things she has been through in her life. And she even, made a comment in the book. She said, I have lived through 2 centuries, and one was no better than the other. So now here we are in 2022, and I'm seeing where they're trying to remove some of the progress that our ancestors has made. So when we sit back and say, oh, things are fine, then all the blood, sweat, and tears that our ancestors went through, the seeping from the soil of this earth, was in vain. Because if you're not moving forward, you're going backwards.
Right.
And this is what I'm afraid of, Dr. Mo. Our ancestors fought so we can have rights that they know they would never be able to enjoy the fruits, but they fought anyway. We have to keep fighting for the future of our children and their children and their children. Because if we sit on our hands and do absolutely nothing, then guess what? One day we're going to look up, they're going to look up, and all their rights are gone.
Right.
And that's what I fear, because I don't want us to go backwards. We have to keep moving forward. So I wrote this book because I wanted people to start with a conversation, because it's definitely a conversation piece. I want people to start talking about, because they do not want us to talk about slavery. I don't know what it is about us not being able to and to be able to teach our children about our history. So we must teach. And if I have to write fictional books to get people to start talking about it, then I did what I was supposed to do, because we cannot go backwards. And that's what I said this the other day. Anybody that was born before 1964, I'm talking about African Americans, Blacks, were born with no rights. That's not a long time ago. That's only 58 years ago. Now you're sitting back and you're seeing all of this moving. Like I said, we're moving backwards. So I want people to really start to think, what can I do to make a difference? So that my grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren can say they fought for us, like we saying about our ancestors.
Right.
Because we cannot stop until we are all equals under the eyes of God, no matter what color your skin is. We cannot stop. And so that's why we have to keep moving and pushing this book and talking about this book, because those are some of the things that she addressed in the book.
All right. All right. So was there any particular emotion that you wanted to evoke of your audience?
I wanted, Dr. Mo, it's not enough for me to love to write. I must feel my writing. So in order for me to feel my writing, I want my readers to feel my words as well. So I wanted to invoke anger.
You did?
Yes. Pain.
Yeah.
Forgiveness. Faith. Revenge. And I know that some people be like, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. But, sometimes, but these are the things that and revenge can be sweet. Right? It don't have to be bitter. So I wanted people to laugh. I wanted people to say, wow, that was deep. Then I had people tell me I had to put the book down for a day or two because
to be draining.
Yeah, because it got to the point, and people got to always remember, I wrote it that way. I could have stopped at any point.
Mm-hmm.
There's a science behind my madness, like Mallory said, insane and brilliant at the same time. There's a science
Mm-hmm.
behind my madness because I wanted it all to come together at the end. No matter what she went through, I wanted it all to come together at the end. So all of those emotions, and you know what, people, the ones that are able to talk to me, these are the emotions they say they receive: the anger, the laughter, the sadness,
Right.
joy, you know, because that's what I wanted them to feel, because that's what I was feeling.
Okay. So let me show the cover. This is another format that everybody can get the book on. Let's see if you can see it. There we go.
Mhm.
Kind of. All right. So this is my ebook. So you definitely get it on ebook as well. If you have a Kindle reader or any e-reader, you can get it on Kindle. So that's off of Amazon.com as well. Um, right now it's in paperback and ebook, and it will be coming out in hardback, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so rumor has it that Mint is just book one of a series. So will there be other books about Mint?
Yes. Um, two, Mint Two, House of Secrets.
Okay.
We'll be coming out with that one next year.
All right.
Probably around the same time, January, February. Um, I've already started in my mind on Mint 3. I've only written the first 2 chapters.
Okay.
And I'm going to take this as far as I can, Dr. Mo. Um, whenever, and I always say this, whenever the book becomes boring, it's gone. I'm gonna just kill the whole series off because it's too good. I'm a movie watcher, and I like a lot of older movies. I love Turner Classic Movies,
Okay.
and um, and sometimes they will do an excellent job on the first book. In the second book, you'd be so disappointed, and I never wanted that to happen. So when I sit down to write, I always pray that my current book would be better than my previous book. And my prayer was answered with Mint 2. So I'm going to say that same prayer with Mint 3, then Mint 4, if there's a Mint 4. That's my prayer, that my current book is better than my previous book.
I'm sorry, Teresa. I can't believe you. You couldn't have written a better book than this one.
I'm going to show you, and I screenshot this. When Mallory, because what I do, my husband doesn't read my books until it goes through the first editing process before we. Okay, so when Mallory, because she's the one that kept telling me I need to write a Mint to her and a couple of more people, and I told her, and I said, Mallory, I don't know how, I'm going to be able to top this book, and she said, just think about it, and so when she finished it, because she would send me notes on the side what she wanted me to fix or address certain issues, I screenshot it, and then she sent me an email, and this is what she said. The last sentence of the book, she said, and this is all in caps. She said, "Holy SHIT!" Explanation point. Yes, I curse. I had to. Teresa, this was epic. I am so proud of you.
Wow.
And then when she sent me the email to send the file back, and this is what she said. She said, your Mint 1 was good. But she said, your Mint 2 did not lose one iota of Mint 1. And I always tell my husband to this day, I like Mint 2 better than I like Mint 1.
Wow.
I do. That's my preference. Somebody else may like Mint 1, but I like Mint 2 better than I like Mint 1. And the way Mint 3 is going, it's going to be a powerhouse too. Woo!
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I know I got to wait a whole year, but I'm going to be staying busy so I don't have to hold my breath.
Well, it's not quite a year because we already in April, so it's not
Okay. Okay.
about 10 months. 10 months.
All
We
right.
don't, Dr. Mo, we don't want to bring him out too because my end game is to make Mint a New York Times bestseller,
Mm-hmm.
and so I gotta keep going out there promoting this book.
Right.
And like I told my husband, you can write a good book, but if nobody knows about it, it means absolutely nothing. So I have to continue to promote this book because I want Mint to be a household name. And the people that are reading this book, they saying the same exact thing. I want Mint too. I want it today. I said, well, you just have to wait. But that's the excitement about this whole story, that people are just, I feel like J.K. Rowling a little bit because everybody was waiting for Harry Potter to come out, and that's hopefully Mint series will be as powerful as
yes.
Harry Potter series.
Yes.
That's how I feel, that they just couldn't wait for the next Harry Potter. So it's like people are they can't wait for Mint. But let me say this to somebody who's listening. There are people that are struggling to finish reading this book because of the language, because of the details. Okay? But always remember this. It's a fictional book. It's not real. I made it up. It's creative writing. So get through the book. And if you don't like the curse words, do what they do on TV. You go beep and keep it moving. You're going to be doing a lot of beeping, but but beep and keep it. Because somebody told me, they said, wow, I didn't know you cursed like that. And I said, I don't. But so people just get through the book. I mean, just push through it. And like you, Dr. Mo, I done read this book 3 times. And I'm probably gonna read it again and again. And because it's always, you're like, wow, I didn't see that the first time.
Right.
I missed that the first time. What does she mean by doing it? And why did I catch this the first time? Because it's one of our friends, she told me, she said, Darren, you wrote a suspense novel. I said, well, I didn't need to.
Yeah.
It's a lot of suspense in the book and a lot of twists and turns. Because, and let me tell the viewers this. You guys see him as Dr. Mo, but his name is Dr. Moore's Red. And he endorsed this book. And it's on the back, and it's also on the inside. And I told my husband, when you sent over your endorsement, it was just so profound. I told Bob, I said, he almost wrote a Mint. As long as your endorsement was.
Yeah, I can get long-winded.
It was wonderful. But I knew the publisher was going to chop it up. I already knew they was going to chop it up. But your endorsement, it blew my mind. Because I know you are a highly educated man. You're a reader. I can tell. For people who are watching, I've never met you. This is my first time laying eyes on you. But you love my work. And I read your book, and your book is wonderful too. So as authors, we just have to stick together.
Right.
We really have to stick together. But thank you for loving Mint as much as I do.
Well, thank you for writing it. It's truly a treat. A lot of people are going to get a bunch of edutainment out of this. They're going to learn so much. They're going to be entertained. Like you said, people will go through those various emotions, and I believe they'll be better people because of it. And as far as the profanity in it, hey, people watch movies all the time, reality TV, even on Instagram, wherever you are, you're going to see that. And like you said, this is a fictional character. However, this is Mint, and people will start to understand that once they start to read it, that this is just her. So, get over it. If you really want to learn about her and learn about her history, just keep reading, like you said. Yes. Now, in lieu of the Oscars, this might be a little touchy subject right now. I see this as a screenplay, as a movie,
Mhm,
easily,
mhm.
and not only just being a movie, but winning an Academy Award.
Mm.
So, um,
Ugh.
have you heard this before? What are your thoughts about that? And then I also have a couple other pieces. Who would you cast as men? Who would you cast as Massa, Roxy, Miguel, Honesty, um, Ruben? Who are some of the characters that just pop in your head as like, okay, this person would be perfect for that? I have some ideas too, but who would you
Well,
have?
maybe you and I need to get together because I'm struggling with that part. But yes, I do see this as a blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
This is a blockbuster. If the right person gets this, and I have control of who I sell my book rights to,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they have to do this book justice because the story has never been told before. It
Right.
must be told. It must go on the big screen. And let me tell you this, Dr. Bo. When we had a meeting with my publisher, my publicist, Bob, and myself, right? So the publisher, he just bought the company, so he had a chance to read Mint yet, but he wanted to meet me because the old publisher was talking highly of this book. So we was on a Zoom meeting, and my publicist told him, his name is John. He said, John, he said, I just sold a book to Hollywood. One of my manuscripts, I just sold to Hollywood. And
Okay.
he said what they do, he said the producer told me what they do when they looking to take a book and turn it into a movie, they look for big cinematic scenes. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, man, do this book have big cinematic?
Bunch of them.
So Barry, he said this is the end game. He is not going to quit until this book becomes a movie, and he is working hard because when he read the book, and Barry told me, he said, Teresa, because he's a white man, he's a Jewish man, he's like, girl, wow, how did you write? Because he's a writer himself,
Okay.
and he said, how did you write this book? And I'm like, I guess it was my season, my timing. But yes, it must, and we are not going to stop until I get that phone call. In Hollywood, if you're not listening today, if you listen to this podcast tomorrow, next week, next month, give a sister a call. We can negotiate because I got to see this on a big screen. This
That's right.
is a blockbuster movie. I'm not saying that, Dr. Mo, because I wrote the book, but they will be blown away with this story. It is absolutely amazing. And then you have put two on top of one,
Right.
and then three. It's like, wow, where do you stop? So
Mm-hmm.
no, yes, it will be. I'm speaking. It will be because I believe in speaking in the future, where you want it to be, not where you are. So it
Mm-hmm.
will be a major blockbuster movie, and it will
I'm
win
in agreement.
a lot of Oscars.
Yes, I
I'm
am
saying
in
that on
agreement.
your show today.
Yes, I am in full agreement.
Yep. And you'll be with us on the red carpet because you're one of my biggest fans. I told my sister, I said, you know what? I told my sister and my husband, I said, man, if I had 1,000 Dr. Mo's, I said Mint will already be a New York Times bestseller.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're really promoting this book. You really are, and I really appreciate it. So, and your deeds would never go undone. So thank you.
What a pleasure. My pleasure. So, Hollywood, I just put on the screen right there. This is how you can find Miss Teresa, uh, teresaaswood.com or mintbyteresaaswood.com. Very easy. Everybody, my audience, take a look at that. And let's go to the audience real quick. I want to see what kinds of things people are saying here before we continue. Let's see. A lot of people saying hello, greetings. So if anybody has any questions for Miss Swift. You can type it in the chat right now. I'm going through the chat. The book name is Meant. Let's see. I don't see any questions. I really enjoyed. All right, so Audrey Skinner said, I really enjoyed the read. Meant was everything. Loved it. Rochelle Brown Sumter, she said it was nice meeting you today. She'll be purchasing Mint today. She can't wait to read it, and congratulations again. Oh, I was going to mention this. I was going to ask you about this, but Krista Ellerby said you did a great job on Pearls of Secret, and she wanted me to ask you about that. Okay, so that's going to be my next question. Let's see. Linda Keogh is right along with me, waiting for Mint 2 and Mint 1, the movie. And Wilstein Black agrees with us. So, hey, when 2 or 3 are in agreement, he says it's going to be a screenplay. He's confirming that. Nene says, oh, thank you. Dr. Morris is a gem.
Mm-hmm.
Please follow him as well. Yeah, follow me, subscribe, you guys.
Yes, please.
Yes. All right. Oh, that's Nene. That's my that's my granddaughter. I was like, Nene.
Hi, Nene.
So, hey, Naomi. Hey, Noel. So, tell us about Pearls of, I thought it was
Pearls of Secrets.
Pearls of Secrets, yes. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that. I know that's not what we're talking about, but, that book is still available. Mm-hmm. What is that about? I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, well, let me tell you this first. My husband said, you need to pull that book down and rewrite that book. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not pulling it down because I want people to see how my writing has improved over the years. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what you get is what you're going to get. I'm not going to pull it down. But it's a story about a woman. Her name is Anne. And mm-hmm. Anne, she ended up with a bullet in her head. So the mystery is, did she shoot herself? Did her son shoot her? Or did somebody else shoot her? Okay. So the whole book, so it's a very good read. It really is. It's one of those books that will pull you in as well. Right. And then you find out at the end, or what truly happened. But that's what it. I just want to give us a little synopsis. But that's what it's about. Her son came home and found her with a bullet. Mm-hmm. She was going through some depression and some things she was going through in her life, and she wanted to end her life. And but I'm not going to tell you anything else because I want people to buy that book as well. But
I'm going to get it.
and you know what, Krista, mm-hmm. my friend Krista, this is so funny. I've been knowing her. We used to live in Fairfax, Virginia together, and I've been knowing her for a moment. And her son and my son used to play football together. So we was the biggest cheerleader moms out there. We would run up and down the field with our sons. Our sons would be like, "Oh Lord, here go our mothers." Mm-hmm. And so Krista hadn't seen me in a moment, and I ran into her at the grocery store. So she said, "Where you been? You writing a book?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm writing a book." And so she would come to my house, and I would tell little stuff that I was writing. So yeah, she's been with me for a long time. So hey, Crystal, I'm glad that you're on. And when her daughter turned 16, she threw her daughter a sweet 16 birthday party, and mm-hmm. she wanted me to write something for her daughter, and she put it on she made it into a bookmarker, and I still have that to this day.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to get that Pearls of Secrets. I'll probably get that today. Mm-hmm. I'll order it today. Mm-hmm. But so Pastor Cal, he asked if it's possible to get autographed copies of the book. So, of course, you can't get autographed copies from Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, or Booktopia. But is there a way that a customer can get an autographed copy?
Well, what we're trying to, between my marketing team and my event planner, we're trying to come up with some clever way that we can, get out there and so the public can see me. because I need to return this love, because
Mhm.
I'm really receiving a lot of love. Dr. Mo, this book has only been out February the 9th, a little over 2 months, and we
Mm.
have 65-star reviews.
Wow. Okay.
So the people that are reading it, they really enjoy it. We just got to get more people to read it.
Right.
So I think I need to really sit down because we want to keep people safe because we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We
Mhm.
want to keep people safe. So we have to come up with a clever way. But if somebody really wants my autograph, what I would do, you send the book to me, I'll autograph it, and I'll pay for the shipping, and I'll send it back to you, and I'll pay for the shipping if they will until we can figure out
Right.
what we can. We have a PO box that people can send the book to, so
Okay.
that's something that people can do because I know they do. And I'm gonna say this, Dr. Mo, you better get it while before my name blow up. You better get
Right.
the autograph before my name blow up because it's gonna be
Precisely.
kind of hard to get it.
Yep. Yep. Well, so I want to make a extra appeal to that as well. All right. So for anybody who purchases Mint tonight and can show proof. So how are you going to show proof? You can screenshot if you take it, make an order on Amazon or one of those other sites from your phone. You can screenshot it and send me a picture of it here at drmo@mindovermatteru.net. And if you send that, what I'm going to do is give you a complimentary copy of the 21-day gratitude journal. So it's going to be uh, electronic. I'll just email it to you. But you do need to take a picture showing that you purchased this book. I'll give you, hey, so we're not going to just say tonight. We'll say tonight through Good Friday. So that's what, 2 days. So you got 2.5 days. If you send an email to drmo@mindovermatteru.net showing me that you purchased this book. And then the other thing I need you to do is once you get the book and you've read it, Ms. Teresa just talked about 5 stars. And let me tell you the significance of that. So Amazon and other book distributors, they look at the ratings. And so we want the highest rating possible, which is 5 stars. And we want the most of those possible. So that's everybody who reads this book could ideally write a 5-star review. But you have to be what they call a verified purchaser. You can't just say you read the book and try to go on Amazon and write a review. It won't let you. You have to be a verified purchaser. And then you can also write a review on goodreads.com. Okay. Even though it's owned by Amazon, it doesn't necessarily transfer. That review doesn't transfer. So go on Goodreads and write another review and give it 5 stars. And I would recommend you do the same thing for my book. We're not promoting my book today, but if you have my book already, do that. Okay. If you're interested in my book, when you go to my website, mindovermatteru.net, you can find out about that. And we'll have a whole nother podcast about that on another day. But if you want this 21-day gratitude journal that was part of my book, absolutely free, complimentary, go ahead and purchase Teresa's book, Mint, between now and Good Friday. And I will send it to you. I'll email it to you that very next day that I receive that email. Okay.
Wow.
And let me check this out. All right. So Renee Brown is on. Someone asked about book signing. So we already discussed that. Okay. Hello, Dr. Mo. My question is to Ms. Swift. I heard that a little bit about how the book was inspired and how long does it take to, okay. How long does it take to write books? So it took you said it was 3 months of research, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then it took you an additional 3 months, was it?
6 months.
An additional 6 months. Okay.
6 months.
And so based on your experience, of course, the children's book is probably a little less time, but even with Pearls of Secrets, based on your experience, is there a number that you can say, or would you, I know what I would answer, but would you say that it really depends in terms of how long it takes you to write a book?
It depends, and it depends on you. How much time do you have? If you have a 9 to 5, it may take you a little longer. Um, but and then you gotta grind it. You gotta get out there. You gotta grind, even when you don't feel like writing. You gotta sit there. You gotta put the work in, and you gotta shut people off. See, one thing I've learned is I don't have people in my ears when I'm writing. I shut everybody down. But you really got to so for me to write a book in a 320 something page book in 6 months, it may take other people less or more, longer, depending on the individual and what you have going on in your life. So I cannot tell somebody how long it would take to write a book. It took me 6 months to write Meant To. I don't know if it's just like a 6 months period for me, but just start writing, and how long it takes it's how long it takes.
Right. So we're going to deviate a little bit and stay on this subject, because I know there's a lot of aspiring authors, and there's a lot of people who don't know that they're author. But I can't remember who wrote the quote, but it said something to the effect of, "There's so many great books that are in the graveyard." Because people have not written them, and there's individual stories, personal experiences, just imaginative experiences people have, or stories that they have that they won't write because they don't know how to write a book. So I'm going to take about 3 minutes, and I know we're a little over time, about 3 minutes, just talking about the process, and both of us will chime in on that. The process for writing a book. So what was your process?
Well, first, what I do, I set my time period. What time period do I want to write? Okay. That's how I start off my time period. Then I start creating my characters. Once I create my characters, then I want to, okay, what type of book do I want to write? Because what type of book? Because there's so many different, books out there, different genres. So you got to find out what type of book do you want to write? And then what type of story do you want to tell? So you have to, like with me, I am a writer. I write by the seat of my pants, because there's different types of writers. You have plotters. They plot out everything. That's why sometimes you see writer, they have, index cards and strings attached. And then you have planters, people that plan out everything. I write by the seat of my pants. Whatever I feel is what I write. So you have to find out, do you want to write about a little child, adult, a man, or woman? You have to find out who you want to write about first. Your location. Do you want to tell a story? Do they live in New York? Do they live in North Carolina, South Carolina? Your location. So once you get all of that, you build in your foundation. And once you build your foundation based off your characters, because what I do, I build my characters in my head, and I see, because I could see Mint as a little girl. I could see Mint as in her 20s, in her 50s, her, even at 110, 11. I see her. So you have to see your characters in your head. All of my, because just like if I say Blue Jay, and for everybody who read the book, they know exactly who Blue Jay is, right? But if I didn't give you that description, how would you know what type of person Blue Jay?
Right.
So you got to bring your characters to life. You got to give them their own personality, and you got to make them different throughout the book. They can't all be the same. All of my characters are all different. No two characters in that book. All of them are totally different. So when you writing, set your foundation. What type of book? You want to write a science fiction book? Then, if you don't know anything about science fiction, go to the library, start reading books about science fiction. And then, like I said, then you go from there. And then if you want to add something, Dr. Mo, go ahead, because you're an author as well.
Well, so I wrote my book. I call it a 5-year book in 4 days. And the reason why I say that is because over a course of 5 years, I was just writing notes. It wasn't necessarily meant to be a book. I was more journaling and just, bearing some pain and figuring out some things. And then I decided, well, this is going to be a book. And I created a name for it. Now, some people won't figure out the name until after they've written the book. I created my name first. And then with that name, I went in that direction to make sure that it matched the name, which is a little more difficult than just writing the book. But that's the way that I did it. And the reason why I said in 3 days is because I had set myself, once I determined, okay, I'm going to write this book, I set myself a date of June 17th. What year was that? 2018? I think 2018. June 17th is my grandmother's birthday. Well, she just passed away, but that's her birthday. So I wanted to write it in commemoration of her. So it was, and my birthday is May 27th. I wanted to finish the book, the manuscript, by my birthday and have everything else done by June 17th. So on May 24th, I got to actually pull in everything together. I had little pieces of paper and journals and I pulled everything together and started putting it together. And then I just wrote. And like you said, you have to set time. So I hadn't been doing that along the way, but I decided, okay, I'm going to write until I'm tired because I work for myself. So I write for long periods for the day. And then on the 26th, I stayed up about 26 hours because I wanted to finish it by my birthday or by the end of my birthday. So I finished it on my birthday. And it was before midnight. So I finished it. And I was like, okay, I did it, and that was the hardest part. And then the publishing and the editing and all that stuff, that was a whole nother ballpark. So what I'm going to do, because this is a whole podcast in itself, talking about how to write a book. And I'm seeing different questions about that. I think if you would allow me, I'm going to have you back, and I'm actually going to invite some other authors. We'll maybe have 5 or 6 authors. And we're going to talk about the process because everybody has different processes.
Yes.
And different experiences. So we're going to talk about that process, and we'll make sure we post it so people can learn how to write a book, whether they're self-publishing or if they're going to publish with a major publisher. So we'll have that conversation. So you guys will have to tune in again. So I'm not going to go over too many details about that. We have a couple other questions, and then we're going to close out. I know it's late. Teresa, tell me about the nonprofit that you and Robert have.
The nonprofit is called Need Change Now, and it is to, last year, the latter part of last year, we finally got our 501c3 status. But we wanted to help low to moderate income families who's struggling to pay, their utility bills because of global warming. People don't understand when we have these droughts, because we're in a drought in, certain parts of the areas in droughts, when we have these tornadoes and all these storms, it wipes out plants. So, and then last summer, a couple of times, hardest days on record, so the earth is heating up, whether people want to believe it or not. Right. So we want to help people with these very high electric bills. Because it's not going to get any better. So my husband and I, hopefully, after tax season, we're going to really sit down and we're going, write grants and get grants so that we can help this push this cause along. So we would definitely love to come back on your show to talk about that once we really fine tune. Because like I said, we just birthed the latter part of last year, and everything been moving so quickly with Mint. And right. I hate to say it, but I have to, my husband always said we have to prioritize. So, tax season came up and now Mint. So we will definitely be helping with that. And again, we can come back on your show and talk. And, my husband and I can come back on your show and talk about and how people can contribute and help us, with this wonderful, this vision that we have to help people. Because like I said, people, electric bills are They're skyrocketing, and some people can't afford to pay them. And these companies, they want their money. So we want to help as much as we can.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on the show. So as we know, this is called the Mo Mindful Show, and with that, we have this question. So, what was the mindset that you needed to have in achieving um, this feat, and what's the general mindset that you keep in order to do the things that you do?
Um, Prayer, meditation. I'm a very spiritual woman.
Okay.
Meditation. Um, I try to stay positive all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People don't understand that is a very important key. You know, I try to draw positive energy. I go to bed. I do this every night before I go to bed, and I think people, if they start doing this, their life is going to really change. Every night when I go to bed, after I give the big G thanks and say my prayer, I I say this: I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm wise. And I say that until I fall asleep.
Mm.
And when I get up in the morning, before I break my fast, because that's what breakfast stands for, breaking your fast,
Mm-hmm.
I say the same thing. I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm wise. So, because a lot of times when you wake up angry or grumpy, majority of your day, you done messed up your whole day.
Right.
So start bringing positive energy. Don't go to bed mad. These are the things I taught myself. Meditation, people don't understand. Meditation is just to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is, just to be quiet and listen.
Right.
Because we have an inner voice. And a lot of people, like they think crazy people have inner voices. No, we all have an inner voice because
Mm-hmm.
we spirits. We
Right.
all spirits. So I would say my spiritual connection is what gets me through all the things that I go through. And I wouldn't change a thing in the world for it, Dr. Mo.
Awesome. Awesome. That gratitude piece is very important. I believe the more gracious you are, appreciative that you are, the more things you will receive to be appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely add that to everybody's agenda. Daily get up and thank God for something.
Yeah.
So I have two more questions. Let me just make sure I don't have anything I'm missing. The ones closed. Okay. So everybody, you see scrolling on the bottom, it says, what has been your aha moment? So if you can just type that in the chat, so I can get back with you later on that. And I just want to share some feedback with Teresa about what you all thought about this interview, what you think about the book, even though we didn't give you too much about the book, but what are you anticipating? Uh, Sometimes when you go to a movie, you already have in your mind that this is going to be the bomb. Well, this is the bomb. So what are you looking forward to with this book? So Teresa, it's been a thrill speaking with you. Um, I'm definitely a huge fan, as you know. I'm looking forward to uh, Mint 2 and 3 and all the other books that come along after that. Um, and to us personally meeting and working together and doing some other things as well.
Yes.
Um, are there any public events that you have scheduled currently that you're going to be at?
No, not at this time. I have to be mindful. I have a father who's 83, he'll be 84 next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, his caregivers, we go and take care of him a couple of days a week. So I have to be very mindful of him. But I will, and then this is what I'm saying this on your show. When Mint becomes a New York Times bestseller, I'm going to have a big event,
Okay.
a huge event. So that's my goal. I'm going to keep pushing. But I would, like I said, I would like to have something, more intimate, for book signing. And again, I will get with my marketing team to see how we can do that and keep everybody safe.
Okay. Now, with these links, are they able to reach you? So if they do want to get that autograph or send that autograph copy, send that book to you to get autographed, if they go to one of these links, are they able to contact you so that you can send them back a PO box, or do you want to do that through me, or how do you want to do that?
It doesn't matter. They can come through me or you. It doesn't matter. Or my publicist.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Bent by Teresa, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then of course, the more powerful. The More Mindful show. So it doesn't matter. And my publicist, you can reach out to him. His email address is publicist740@gmail.com. So there's ways that they can reach me to get an autographed copy of the book.
You said publicist740@gmail.com?
That is correct.
Okay. Let me just show that.
Yes.
Okay. So that's her publicist. If you all want to contact the publicist, and you can contact me if you want to send a copy. But first, you need to purchase the book. Remember, purchase the book and send me an email. Let me put that back up there real quick. And then the last thing, Teresa, is how can we help promote this book?
What I will tell people, when you read it, just because you read it and bought it, it doesn't stop there. You have to continue to promote this book. You have to continue to tell people about this project, because it's one of those books that you can't tell anybody about it because you will give stuff away. So when you like today, the young lady Rochelle, who you read her comment, we were in the store, and she was in front of me, and she left the store, and I said, "Wow, where did she go?" She had her daughter with her. I said, "Where did she go?" Because that's a book. She may be interested in buying this book. She may, want to be on a podcast.
Right.
So I went out and I located her. She was sitting in the car. And I hope I didn't scare her. But I walked up, but I was standing behind her. And when she left to go out the store, we spoke.
Okay.
So, and I introduced myself. And I told her, I said, "Look, do you like to read?" I always ask people, "Do you like to read?"
Right.
That's the first thing I ask. And yes, I love to read. And that's what she said. "Oh, I love to read." "Oh, you want to read a good book? Here's a good book." And so we always got to be promoting this book.
Right.
And what I want to start, Dr. Mo, I want to start a Mint 3-3 campaign. Okay. Because my saying is one read, many voices. Just because you read it, it doesn't stop there. You have to continue to speak over this book. You got to continue to push this book. You got to continue, walk up to people like this lady, Rochelle. "Do you like to read?" "Oh, you do? Okay. Check. Go to Amazon. Pull it up." She pulled it up. She said, "Wow, it's a beautiful cover. I'm definitely going to support." Right. And thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Rochelle. But the 3-3 campaign, and what I want everybody to do tonight, I want everyone to reach out to 3 people to buy this book that will buy this book. And then have those 3 people reach out to 3 people. And those 3 people reach out to 3 people. And sometimes you may have to reach out to 6 to get to your 3.
Right.
Some people say they're going to buy it and they don't. But if we keep doing that, Mint will be a household name. Right. So if people would just do the Mint 3-3 campaign, even if people who have already went, and I have people that have bought the book and they got other people to buy the book, but go back to those same people and say, "Okay, we start a Mint 3-3 campaign." If you reach out to 3 people, and they reach out to 3 people, and keep this train moving. So that's what I would ask people to do. Follow, Put stuff on your social media platform. That's what it's there for.
Right.
We are missing an opportunity. People will not post, they will not comment. Use your platform to get the word out, because this book is going to be a New York Times bestseller.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to say, I was with Miss Swift when she first took that ride. I seen most of all her podcasts, and look at her now. She's walking the red carpet. So be a part of this journey, because people got to realize what the big G has for me. Nobody can stop it.
Right.
That man already spoke that over me going on almost 19 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In May. It was in the month of May. So just be a part of it. Right. Be part of the growth. Be part of the movement. And that's what I would say. Don't sit on your hands. Do not sit on your hands. And if people get tired of talking about it, and they get tired of you talking about it, that's their problem, because they don't want to see this book progress. So if you got people in your ear saying, "Oh, here we go with men again," so what? I'm going to continue to talk about men until she gets on that big screen, until she becomes a New York Times. Because see, once I become a New York Times bestseller, it's all over with them. People don't understand. I didn't get any book deal I want.
Right.
It's getting to that part. So be with me and help me push this book, and stop sitting on your hands. Open your mouth. One read, many voices. Just remember that. One read, many voices.
Many voices. All right.
Okay.
All right. So you heard it right here on the More Mindful Show. 333 or 33. Okay. Tell 3. Get 3 to buy the book. Tell them to get 3 others, and tell them to get 3 others, and let's keep it moving.
Yes.
Is it better to purchase the book from your direct site or go to some of those other booksellers in terms of counting it toward bestseller status?
It doesn't matter. It's just once you sell a million copies, that's how you become a New York Times bestseller. It doesn't matter. So you can buy it off any platform. The only thing that I can't count against my numbers is when I buy books. So if I buy books for promotional pieces, I can't include those in my numbers. But if you buy, the consumers buy the book, then it gets counted. I can't even, I can't even rate my own book, because, because my cousin asked me, he said, why you can't do that? Why you can't buy books? I said, well, think about this. If I was a millionaire and I wanted to become a New York Times bestseller, I would just buy 1 million of my books.
Right.
And throw them in the trash or put them in my basement or something. And overnight I'll become so, they put safeguards in place. So, but what I would say, just keep it moving. I know we just starting this journey, but we're going to get there. And as soon as Mint becomes a New York Times bestseller, I will be on your show. We'll be talking about Mint being a New York Times bestseller.
All right. I'm going to hold her to it. And everybody here online, you guys hold her to it too. So let's give Miss Teresa A. Swift a hand and thank you for coming on the show.
Before one more thing, Dr. Mo. I just want to read this piece.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Okay. But I want to read this piece. First of all, I would like to congratulate Judge Jackson for becoming the 106th Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court.
Yes.
We are in International Black Women's History Month. A lot of people don't know that, but April is International Black History Month. I wrote this piece in April 2019, and it's called Black Women, Take Your Place. So I'm going to have to read it because I just found it the other day, and I thought it was fitting for your show because we are in International Black Women's History Month. So it's called Black Women, Take Your Place. From the time you're birthed into this world, you grow from a baby into a pretty little girl. Then you begin to mature, and your situation starts to change. The same world makes fun of your skin color and criticizes your mane. Black women, take your place. Your physical appearance is not a disgrace. Be proud of who you are because you were designed from the best. Your ancestors fought for you to not be less. Your presence can never ever be erased. You are life, you are elegance, and you are grace. Embrace your beauty and love thyself. Remove all negative thoughts and store them on a shelf. You're the product of powerful women that preceded you. They left a footprint to walk in their shoes. Black women, take your place. Without you, there wouldn't be the human race. When this cruel world turns on you, don't give in. You're already a champion, so fight to win. Remember, you're special from your derriere, woolly hair, and thick lips. Walk with pride as you swing your wide hips. When I see you, I am staring back at me. You are a phenomenal woman, like a beautiful tree. Your hair grows towards the sun and resembles the leaves in full bloom. The smell of your presence is like a bottle of sweet perfume. Black women, take your place. You don't belong on the back of the bus. Rosa Parks won that case. You are Mother Nature, strong as the wind. Because of your bravery and audacity, never give in. Who told you you were not gorgeous and not smart? You are the Mona Lisa, an expensive piece of art. You are a princess, you are a queen, you are all that and so many things. So, Black women, take your place because when they see you, they're looking in a goddess's face. Justice Jackson, thank you for taking your place.
All right. I can't really snap, but that was beautiful.
Thank
That
you.
was beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks.
So we are going to close this out. Thank you for embellishing me with an extra 30 minutes. I'm sure everybody stayed on, so we all enjoyed it. We all appreciate you. Everybody saying thank you. They're happy for you. So again, let's give it up for Miss Teresa A. Swift. And go out there and get mint, you all.
Yeah.
Teresa, so we will talk.
Thank you,
God
Dr.
bless you.
Mo. Thank you.
Pleasure. Take care.
Good night.